Finding a wedding invitation in my mailbox brought a wave of excitement. I eagerly opened it, and a small note card slipped out. Ignoring the note for the moment, I focused on the beautiful invitation. Its design was exquisite, truly a work of art, and I immediately placed it on my fridge to admire daily. Addressed to both my husband and me, it filled me with joy. Weddings always moved me to tears, with the promise of new beginnings and the celebration of love. My passion for weddings even led me to become a wedding singer at one point. After savoring the invitation, I picked up the note card. To my surprise, while my husband was invited to the wedding and reception, I was assigned to help babysit the children in a separate room with several other women. The church hosting the wedding had a special room for children, and that's where I was expected to spend the entire event. Despite needing to dress appropriately for the wedding, in case I appeared in any photos, I would have my meal with the children and miss out on the main festivities. The note also included a link to their gift registry. Adding to my dismay, the note mentioned that the meals for my husband and me would cost $100 in each, with a link provided for payment when we RSVP'd digitally. The first issue that sprang to mind was my disability. At 50 years old, I am legally disabled and rely on oxygen. I use a walker for long distances and sometimes need a wheelchair. While I could sit in a room and watch the kids, I wouldn't be much help in an emergency where quick action was required, such as preventing a fall or dealing with a choking child. My physical limitations made this babysitting assignment impractical. The second issue was more personal. My husband wasn't the one with lifelong connections to these people I was. It baffled me that he would be allowed to attend the wedding and reception, while I was relegated to the children's room. My husband generously offered to watch the kids so I could enjoy the wedding, but the note specifically stated that only female invitees would be babysitting, making his offer moot. I couldn't help but wonder if this was a new trend at weddings. Do hosts now assign guests to babysit other guests' children? Should I call and explain my health situation, even though they were already well aware of it from my numerous hospital stays? It felt unfair to have to play the health card, but what were they thinking? I felt deeply hurt and offended, reduced to a mere babysitter expected to pay for my meal and provide free childcare. Would it be wrong to decline the invitation and suggest they find another babysitter? And if we don't attend, should we still send a gift? To give you more context, I know these folks because my late mother and the bride's grandmother were best friends. The bride's mom and I grew up together, attended the same schools, graduated together, worked together twice, and have maintained a close relationship. The bride has always felt like a goddaughter to me. This situation leaves me stunned. The wedding will take place at a Southern Baptist church. None of us are particularly religious, they just like the venue. I've never been inside, but it's beautiful from the outside and apparently has a childcare room spacious enough for a group of women and children to gather comfortably during the wedding and reception. We are all American. The groom's family is connected to mine through marriage, and the bride and groom actually met at a cookout at my house a few years ago. My bond with the bride's family has always been much stronger. I knew about the proposal. I was FaceTimed shortly after it happened, and my husband and I shared tears and laughter, congratulating them on the engagement and admiring the ring. I anticipated an invitation, but certainly not one like this. The bride's mom mentioned during our last lunch that they were inviting around 200 people, so it would be a large wedding with many children in attendance. I don't dislike children. In fact, I love them. My husband and I wanted kids of our own, but my body couldn't carry a pregnancy to term. After 2 miscarriages and a stillbirth, we accepted that it wasn't meant to be. We are now in the process of legally adopting 2 young adults who came to live with us after being kicked out and left homeless at 18. They've been with us for years and call us mom and pop, forming our own family. I'm still weighing my options. I've started and deleted several emails to the bride's mom, my emotions making it difficult to find the right words. I want to ensure everything is in writing to avoid any miscommunication. I plan to ask if the babysitting note was sent to me by mistake, given my physical limitations. However, every draft of the email starts with "WTF Donna," so I need to calm down and think it through. I spoke to my friend, the bride's mother, and I'm pretty upset. I've been bawling for most of the day. She called and said they were getting a lot of backlash from the wedding guests. No one wanted to pay $100 and for dinner, and only 3 of the women asked were okay with babysitting. I told her I understood the guests upset because it's just tacky to 1. Be asked to pay, and 2. Be told you are invited but only to babysit. I told her I would not be a babysitter. At all. No. Just no. She got mad and brought up how we were lifelong friends. She said I'd be helping them more by babysitting than by simply sitting in a pew watching. I reminded her that I couldn't physically help at all due to, being legally disabled. She said they completely understood that and expected me to simply supervise the other sitters since they trusted me most. Again, I told her that I felt it was insulting to be voluntold, thanks Reddit for that word, that I'd be babysitting, and that I had no desire to do that, especially not dressed in formal wear. Then we got to the truth. She said she didn't know if I'd be in a wheelchair that day or require a walker. That's fair. I don't always know which one I'll need. She said they wanted everyone in pews for the wedding video, and me sitting in a wheelchair would make me stick out and ruin the video and photos. I said, if I need a wheelchair that day, then I can move to a pew, and my husband can put the wheelchair in another room or back in our car. I may not even need it that day. Then she says, well, space is limited in the pews. You would take up the space of 2 people with your purse and oxygen tank. I said, no, I would not. I wouldn't bring a purse in. An oxygen tank either sits on my lap or between my feet. It's like a little backpack. Then she said, well, having you in oxygen in the photos would be distracting from the other people. And there you have it. Words were exchanged and she hung up on me. I haven't been removed from any social media yet, but I fully expect to be. I already feel awful for being this way at only 50 years old. I didn't choose this. I didn't want this. If she thinks it's awful to have it photographed, just imagine living with it. Which is what I told her before she hung up on me. I'm devastated. Just devastated. Reflecting on our friendship, I remembered how my mom and the bride's grandma were inseparable. Growing up with the bride's mom was like having an older sister. We shared everything, school, work, and countless memories. The bride was like a goddaughter to me. It was at my house, during one of our summer cookouts, that the bride and groom first met. Their relationship blossomed from that day, and I felt a deep connection to their journey. When the proposal happened, I was one of the first people they called. My husband and I cried tears of joy, shared in their excitement, and admired the ring. We were genuinely happy for them, and I was looking forward to celebrating their love. But this invitation, with its unexpected babysitting duties, felt like a slap in the face. It seemed to disregard my relationship with the family and my physical limitations. I couldn't understand why they would assign me to babysit, knowing my health issues. It wasn't just about the physical strain, it was the emotional blow of being sidelined. I began to question if our friendship meant as much to them as it did to me. I considered my options, drafting and redrafting emails to the bride's mom. Each attempt felt inadequate, either too harsh or too pleading. I didn't want to come across as bitter, but I needed to convey my hurt and frustration. The whole situation was a minefield of emotions, and I was struggling to navigate it. I appreciated the support and advice from friends and strangers alike. Their comments provided a mix of perspectives that helped me see the situation from different angles. Some suggested declining the invitation and focusing on my well-being, while others encouraged me to address the issue head-on with the bride's family. Despite my reservations, I decided to speak with the bride's mother. The conversation was tense. She explained the backlash they were facing from other guests, who were also unhappy about the babysitting assignments and the $100 in meal charge. I expressed my understanding but reiterated my inability and unwillingness to babysit. Her reaction was disappointing. She emphasized our long-standing friendship and suggested that I could still help by supervising the other sitters. When I reminded her of my disability, she acknowledged it, but insisted they needed someone they trusted to oversee the children. The conversation took a more painful turn when she admitted their real concern. My presence in a wheelchair, or with oxygen, would be a distraction in their wedding photos and video. It felt like a punch to the gut. I tried to assure her that I could manage without drawing attention, but her mind was made up. We exchanged harsh words and she hung up on me. The aftermath of that call left me reeling. I hadn't been removed from social media yet, but I knew it was only a matter of time. The whole ordeal made me feel even more self-conscious about my disability, something I didn't choose and had no control over. As I reflected on the conversation, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. The bride's family, who I considered my own, had reduced me to a problem to be managed rather than a guest to be cherished. Their concerns about appearances overshadowed our decades of friendship. In the days that followed, I received messages of support from other friends, and even some wedding guests who were aware of the situation. They reassured me that my feelings were valid and that I had every right to be hurt. Their kindness was a balm to my wounded spirit, but the pain lingered. Ultimately, I decided not to attend the wedding. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was the right one for my mental and physical well-being. I sent a polite email declining the invitation and wished them all the best for their special day. Despite everything, I wanted their wedding to be a joyous occasion, even if I couldn't be part of it. I also sent a modest gift from the registry as a gesture of goodwill. It felt like a small way to honor the years of friendship and the love I still had for them, despite the hurt they had caused. Life moved on, and I focused on the positives. My husband and I continued our adoption process, bringing 2 wonderful young adults into our lives. They called us Mom and Pop, and their presence filled our home with love and laughter. They were our family, and we were grateful for the joy they brought us. Through this experience, I learned the importance of setting boundaries and standing up for myself. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I realized that true friends would understand and respect my limitations, rather than make me feel like a burden. As I moved forward, I cherished the support system I had and the new family we were building. The pain from the wedding invitation incident lingered, but it no longer defined me. I chose to focus on the love and happiness in my life, surrounding myself with people who truly cared about me. In the end, I found peace in knowing that I had done what was best for me. The journey was difficult, but it taught me valuable lessons about friendship, acceptance, and resilience. I embraced the future with hope and gratitude, ready to create new memories with the people who mattered most.